Hidden among the ancient oaks of Windsor Great Park stands a house that has seen centuries of royal privilege, and now, royal controversy. Royal Lodge, a 30-room mansion wrapped in ivy and silence, is more than just a royal residence. It is the battleground for one man's determination to stay against the shifting winds of monarchy, money, and modern accountability. Today, we uncover the story of Prince Andrew's Royal Lodge, its history, its grandeur, and the storm now gathering around its gates. Before it became a royal flashpoint, Royal Lodge was a retreat of peace. Its story begins in the 1660s, when a modest keeper's cottage stood on this very site. By the reign of King George IV, it had become a picturesque residence, the perfect pastoral escape from court life at Windsor Castle, just 3 miles away. Over time, Royal Lodge evolved. Stuccoed walls, gabled roofs, and sweeping lawns gave it the genteel grandeur of an English country seat. The current house, a Grade II listed property, was largely rebuilt in the 1830s, combining Georgian grace with Victorian comfort. For centuries, it served as the home of courtiers, military officers, and favoured royals. But its most beloved chapter began in 1952, when Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, took up residence. After the death of King George VI, the Queen Mother made Royal Lodge her sanctuary. She filled its rooms with chintz sofas, corgis, and the sound of laughter. Garden parties spilled onto the lawns, and visiting grandchildren, Charles, Anne, Andrew, and Edward, played among the rose beds. Inside, portraits of ancestors watched over what was perhaps the last truly domestic court of the 20th century Windsors. Those who visited remembered the house as both stately and oddly human, part drawing room, part nursery. The Queen Mother lived here for 50 years until her passing in 2002 at the age of 101, and it was then that Royal Lodge's future fell into the hands of her favourite son, Prince Andrew, the Duke of York. In 2003, the Crown Estate, the body that manages royal lands, granted Prince Andrew a 75-year lease on Royal Lodge. The terms were unusually specific. Andrew paid a £1 million premium up front, but agreed to take on full responsibility for renovating and maintaining the vast property, at his own expense. Reports later revealed that the Crown Estate required £7.5 million worth of renovations as part of the deal. No small sum, even for a prince. The agreement made clear that Royal Lodge would remain Crown property, but Andrew would effectively have lifetime tenancy, provided he kept the estate in good condition. For a time, this seemed a fair arrangement. Prince Andrew lived there with his former wife Sarah, Duchess of York, who, despite their 1996 divorce, continued to share the home. Together, they restored the lodge, its pale stucco gleaming again, the gardens replanted, the guest cottages refurbished. Royal Lodge became a discreet family enclave, far from London's glare. Few could have imagined that one day it would become the symbol of royal discord. In the years that followed, Prince Andrew's public standing began to unravel. His royal duties were suspended in 2019 following widespread outrage over his association with Jeffrey Epstein. In 2022, he was stripped of his military titles and royal patronages. His public funding ceased, and his official role within the monarchy effectively ended. Yet, through it all, Royal Lodge remained, his last foothold in royal life. When King Charles III ascended the throne in 2022, he inherited not only the crown, but also the delicate task of managing family estates under new expectations of transparency and financial restraint. The monarchy's working members were reduced, budgets were tightened, and questions arose. Should a non-working royal continue to live in a 30-room mansion, subsidized even indirectly by public assets? By 2023, reports emerged of an uncomfortable standoff between King Charles and his brother. Charles, eager to streamline royal finances, was said to have offered Andrew a smaller residence, Frogmore Cottage, recently vacated by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. But Andrew refused. Citing his 75-year lease and the millions he had already invested, he insisted he had no intention of leaving Royal Lodge. Sources close to the Crown Estate confirmed that the lease remains legally binding, provided Andrew continues to meet its maintenance obligations. But therein lies the problem. Maintaining a Grade 2 listed property of this scale costs hundreds of thousands of pounds per year. Without royal income or an official role, how, many have asked, can Prince Andrew afford it? Since losing his royal allowance and most of his staff, Prince Andrew's finances have become a matter of quiet but persistent scrutiny. He no longer receives funds from the sovereign grant, the official public subsidy for working royals. Security costs, once covered by the government, have been scaled back. His personal wealth, estimated at between £5 and £10 million, is reportedly drawn from private inheritances and investments. But given the ongoing upkeep of Royal Lodge, speculation continues over whether the estate is being quietly supported by other means. The Duchy of Lancaster, a private estate of the monarch, has occasionally been rumoured as a source of limited financial assistance to non-working royals, though the palace has declined to comment. Whatever the truth, the optics are difficult. At a time when King Charles is emphasising efficiency and accountability, his brother's continued occupation of a multi-million-pound residence, effectively rent-free, has become an uncomfortable contrast. Architecturally, Royal Lodge remains one of the jewels of Windsor Great Park. Its approach curves through wooded drives, opening to a sweeping facade of cream stucco framed by classical columns. The interiors are said to feature a grand staircase, a state dining room, a conservatory overlooking the gardens, and more than 30 bedrooms. The estate includes Cumberland Lodge to the north and Adelaide Cottage nearby, once home to the Prince and Princess of Wales. The proximity to Windsor Castle underscores its royal pedigree, but also its cost. Royal Lodge is both magnificent and demanding. The gardens alone, spread across 98 acres, require a small army of staff. The property's upkeep rivals that of a minor stately home. For Prince Andrew, Royal Lodge has become both sanctuary and symbol, a reminder of his former life, and a burden he cannot easily relinquish. Within the institution, the issue of Royal Lodge has taken on constitutional undertones. The monarchy has long walked a fine line between private property and public trust. While the Crown Estate is officially owned by the monarch, its revenues go to the Treasury. In return, the royal family receives the sovereign grant, a system meant to balance privilege with accountability. Yet, arrangements like Andrew's 75-year lease fall into a grey area, technically private, but deeply entwined with public perception. When the late Queen approved the lease in 2003, few foresaw today's climate of scrutiny. Now, in an age of economic austerity and heightened transparency, the notion of a disgraced prince retaining a mansion at minimal cost has become a test of royal credibility. As one constitutional historian put it, Royal Lodge is not just about property, it's about principle. Public opinion has shifted. For some, Prince Andrew's insistence on remaining at Royal Lodge is a matter of legal right. He paid for his lease, he funded its restoration, and he owes nothing to public outrage. For others, it represents the stubbornness of privilege, a relic of a royal culture out of step with the times. Tabloids have cast it as a royal standoff. Commentators call it a moral test for King Charles, whether compassion for a brother outweighs his duty to modernize the monarchy. Yet, amid the noise, one image endures. Royal Lodge standing silent, its gates closed, its lawns immaculate, a palace caught between nostalgia and necessity. Royal Lodge, in its quiet way, mirrors the monarchy's dilemma in the 21st century. It embodies the tension between heritage and reform, loyalty and accountability. The Queen Mother once made the house a refuge from change. Her grandson now occupies it as change surrounds him. What once symbolized continuity now represents resistance, a private story with public consequences. Even within royal circles, there is unease. Some insiders suggest that King Charles's insistence on a smaller, core monarchy will eventually make estates like Royal Lodge obsolete. Others believe that Andrew's continued residence prevents that transition from being complete. Whatever the outcome, Royal Lodge has already become a case study in royal adaptation, or the lack of it. As of 2025, Prince Andrew continues to reside at Royal Lodge. Despite reports of financial strain, he and the Duchess of York remain determined to keep the property. Occasional sightings show the Duchess driving through the gates, her presence as constant as the ivy on the walls. King Charles, meanwhile, has chosen restraint, balancing familial loyalty with the quiet pressure of public expectation. But time, like the weather in Windsor, is unpredictable. Royal Lodge may yet remain Andrew's last royal bastion, or become a symbol of how the monarchy must change to endure. In the end, Royal Lodge is more than a mansion. It is a mirror of the modern monarchy itself, majestic, historic, but struggling under the weight of its own past. Its white facade gleams with memory. Its silence speaks of questions still unanswered. Who pays for privilege? Who defines duty? And how much can heritage withstand before it becomes history? For Prince Andrew, the lodge may represent loyalty to family, or perhaps defiance against it. For King Charles, it is a test of resolve, of whether the crown can reform itself while still protecting its own. As Britain looks toward a more transparent future, Royal Lodge stands as a haunting reminder that in the House of Windsor, even the walls have stories, and not all of them are easily forgotten. This is Royal Lodge, the house that wouldn't move.